given that you guys have grown, like essentially known each other your entire life,
Yeah.
how do you still, what's your thinking on approaching co-founders, and what does it take to actually be a great co-founder?
Okay, that's a tough question. I think the biggest aspect of a good co-founder beyond competency in whatever you're doing is empathy, because what you're really doing is going into this, and not to use the most overplayed cliche, but you really are going to war.
Right.
And the one thing that's great about doing that with Joey, someone I've known my whole life, like when you're in the bunker, I'd much rather have someone who's my friend watching my back than someone I've never met.
Yeah.
So I think the key in looking for a co-founder is really making sure that you do build a relationship and not just jump in, hey, you're smart, like let's go for this. You really do need to have someone who can like scream at and then hug afterwards.
Right.
It just, that happens.
So what's interesting though is you guys have such a history. It's easier to have that sort of back and forth interaction when people, meet at a meetup or, know of each other through mutual friends, and then they're like, hey, that's a good idea, let's start something. They don't have that background. They don't have that, like, literally 15, 20, 25 years of knowing each other. So, I mean, given that, like, what do you think, like, how do you think they should go about it?
Yeah, build something together, right? Like, you guys, you don't have to have an idea, just go build something and see how you work together and see if you have that working relationship. It can be something really stupid, right? But just see if you can have that right working dynamic.
So, like, do a hackathon, do a startup weekend, do a side project.
Yeah, but I'd say take yourself out of like the places where you have people facilitating you. Like, so startup weekend is great because you have all these extra forces like moving you forward and making it work. Step outside of that. Like, just have the two of you go lock yourselves somewhere, just the two of you or just the four of you or however many co-founders are, and say like, we're gonna build this and ship it and see what we can do. And that's the true test. But no one's like, you don't have any mentors, you don't have any resources. If you can still like each other and work together well in those circumstances, then you're going to be okay.
Have you guys had a situation where, like, some challenges, or obviously you've had challenges?
Oh, absolutely, right? I mean, I think any co-founders that don't are either lying or just, I don't know, like crazy. But I mean, we definitely have our challenges, and we can fight and argue about a feature all day, and then, at the end of the day, say, okay, like, but we're friends at the end of the day. Let's keep going.
How do you work it out? Let's say there's like a disagreement. It's like tough meeting. Get pissed off, like, how do you?
We just talk through it. I mean, no real magic bullet there. Just, like, okay, we really disagree. Like, I don't hate you, you don't hate me. Like, why do we disagree? Let's figure out why, and then ultimately let's make a decision.
Well, co-founding is tough. I mean, I use like you said, war. I use the analogy of marriage, and even though I'm not married, I think that when it's as serious as getting married. When you decide to found a company with someone, it's thick and thin. It's for better for worse.
You're pledging your next 10 years to them, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit shorter marriage. Well, I guess in this day and age, maybe that's sort of a long marriage.
Right.
You wouldn't just. It's like getting married in Vegas that one night, right? Like the same thing. You don't want to just get married to, that's a hot shiny new developer, right? Like.
Right.